Good evening, and welcome along to the show. And what a show it is this evening. We've got the Belfast Girls. They're going to be with us very shortly. Simon Savidge from the Sky Arts Book Club also joins us on the show tonight. Comedian Paul Mone is also with us, and we'll find out about this year's Aspects Book Festival as well. But starting us off on the show this week, Belfast Restaurant Week is back. I've been eating my way around the city. We'll find out more about that in just a second. But let's see what's happening this year, because Kathleen McBride from Belfast One joins us now in the studio. Kathleen, how are you?
I'm well, Robin.
So this is something to look forward to. Belfast Restaurant Week is back.
Finally, 2 years later, we're back, and we're so delighted to be back.
And the great thing is, I've been looking at some of the menus, some of the offers. There really is something for everybody to get involved with, isn't there?
Something for everybody. I think that's really important as we come out of the pandemic as well. Just to bring people back into the city, to re-energise them and just remind them how good the Belfast offering is, how the restaurants are now showcasing their food dishes. And it's really just re-engaging and reminding people how great the Belfast experience is.
Yeah, I've been talking to a lot of chefs from England and all over the world, and they now realise that Belfast is definitely on that food map now. We're doing really good food, getting Michelin stars all the time and stuff like that, aren't we?
Absolutely, and the more of that we have, the better. However, we don't forget about the indigenous food we have here. We have a great fish offering, great shellfish offering, great beef, lamb. It's all about the home produce. A lot of this produce is only produced literally on our doorstep, so it's making the most of that, and it's keeping the carbon footprint small, and it's just bringing people back in and reminding them of how good our own food is.
Yeah, now obviously the restaurants and hospitality industry had a tough time during the pandemic. Sadly, things really haven't changed with the rising costs and electricity and stuff like that. They're suffering another tough time, aren't they?
Absolutely. It's like we've left one perfect storm and we've just been whooshed straight into another perfect storm. And I suppose from our perspective, from Belfast Restaurant Week, we're trying to help them through that. And this is it's maybe only a small way of doing so, but it's a way of bringing footfall into Belfast, and that's what we're all about. So it's getting people back into the city centre, getting them out and having a good time. All the food experiences, we hope will be good ones, and there'll be memories made, and families will enjoy themselves, as well as the entertainments and everything that Belfast has to offer. But the food offering is so important in this day and age.
It really is, but the difficult thing now is what restaurants are you going to choose to visit during Restaurant Week, because there's so many out there, isn't there?
There's in excess of 40 restaurants now as part of this, and we're so excited about that. There's some great big names in there. There's also some unexpected hidden gems as well, and that all adds to the surprises. The menus are really important, so we've everything from a £10 lunch, which is great, £15 dinner, even better. But as well as that, we have the family platters, the sharing platters. There's something in that, as you were saying, for everyone, but it's all to do with the food and the fun and just the experience you can have around that.
I had the most amazing sharing platter last week in Flame, and I have to mention that because it was so big, everything was on it, and it was a really good price as well.
I know. I think that platter is very popular from what I can gather. And again, how can we maximise that? And we need to tell people how great that is, and get them to come back in again.
And again, the other night, me and you were in Coco as well.
We were,
for a little taster menu.
Bit of a treat that night now, yes.
The food was fabulous, wasn't it?
Fabulous. Again,
I've never had lamb like it.
Homegrown food, yes, and just on our doorstep, and we were just enjoying it and having a good time in a relaxed atmosphere. It was great to see all those people out again, and no more social distancing, no more masks. So the atmosphere was fantastic, and it's great to see that.
All right, there's so much to look forward to. Give us the website details if people want to get more info.
Just log on and go to Belfast Restaurant Week or hashtag BelfastRW22.
Brilliant. Kathleen, thank you for coming in and joining us.
Thank you, Robin.
So there are so many restaurants to look forward to during Belfast Restaurant Week. I've been visiting some of them, so here's what happened when I went to eat my way around Belfast. So we're looking forward to Belfast Restaurant Week 2022. I'm on my way around Belfast. In fact, I'm eating my way around Belfast at the moment to celebrate Restaurant Week. And why not start at one of my favourite bars in Belfast? We're here at the Morning Star. So James, it's great to be here at the Morning Star. And what I love about this bar is it's one of the few bars in Belfast that hasn't lost any of its original character.
No, we're a Belfast institution. We've family business for the last 35 years, and yeah, no, it's fantastic that Belfast Restaurant Week is coming back around. It great impetus, get people out and about, enjoying what all the great restaurants in Belfast do.
Now, you obviously at this time of the year must be very busy with the tourists still.
Yeah, no, we've had a fantastic summer there, very busy. It looks like there's been 2 years worth of tourists, backed up from COVID, coming through the doors. So we've had a great summer, very busy, challenging it as well, with everything going on in the world. But we're still here, we're still battling our way through, and still serving great pints of Guinness and great food.
Indeed, and of course it has been a challenge when we had the 2 years of the pandemic, and then just when you think you get over that, then you start to find out about the rising costs involved in running a bar. It's not easy, is it?
No, there's always challenges in this game. It's just something we're going to have to deal with. You're looking at the likes of the government, see if there's any help coming through. But we'll fight our way through. We'll batten down the hatches, and we'll come out the other side.
Tell us about the bar as well, because I've just been in there. It's lunchtime, and I mean, there's a great atmosphere in there at the moment.
We have everyone from 18-year-olds to 80-year-olds, as I was telling you earlier, brickies to barristers. We're a pub for everyone. It's a nice atmosphere there. We have people coming in for their lunch, for an after-work pint, for dinner, for a few drinks in the evening as well. So we're busy all day,
yeah.
And we got a great clientele there, great customers, and we enjoy what we do.
Exactly,
that's the main thing.
And you're still famous for showing the horse racing as well, aren't you?
Yeah, and we always will be. We got punters in there, and people love coming in and seeing those boys. They come in, they're great crack. The slag, give you the odd joke, and that's part and parcel of coming into a pub.
And what about food as well? How important is it to support local produce?
I don't know if you know, but we have our own farm, our own beef and lamb farm, and we have our own butcher there as well. And then we have great relationships with local farmers, and we'd be buying cattle off them and lamb off them and pigs off them throughout the year. They come in and support us, but we also go to the annual Balmoral show beef and lamb sale. We buy the top prize-winning animals at that every year, so it's a big part of our business, to look after the local community and do what we can and be able to support them. So yeah, no, it's a massive part of what we do.
Excellent. Well, James, thank you for having us here today, and the best of luck with Restaurant Week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
So our travels around Belfast continue. Do you know what? There's just so many great restaurants in this city. You're going to be spoiled for choice during Belfast Restaurant Week. Where am I going next? Let's go and pay a visit to Home. So here we are in Home today. For people who've never been to this restaurant, how would you describe it?
We are a restaurant where everybody's going to find something that they're going to like. We are very proud of catering for all dietary requirements. We have a full gluten-free menu, a full vegan menu, and a full vegetarian menu. And we have a lot of homely dishes, a lot of traditional dishes, and then we have a little bit of fusion as well, Asian fusion. Some French influences, a little bit of everything, really.
Brilliant. Okay, so we're looking ahead to Belfast Restaurant Week. So how important is an event like Belfast Restaurant Week?
I think Belfast Restaurant Week is a great celebration of the variety of restaurants that we have in Belfast. I personally think that the offer for dining in Belfast is absolutely magnificent. So it's a great opportunity to show that to people, and I suppose everybody's used to go to their favorite restaurants all the time. So it's a great opportunity for people to get out of their comfort zone and try different places. I'm looking forward to go to a few restaurants myself, Well,
that's good, but is the cost of living, is that something you guys as a restaurant are worried about at the moment?
Oh, well, for sure, it's definitely affecting the running of the restaurant, and you have to be really creative to limit costs, but I'm very positive, and we see a lot of people coming through these doors every day. So I think, we're doing really well, and we're going to keep doing really well, yeah.
What about local produce as well? That must be important to support local companies.
Of course, yeah. Most of our produce does come from local. I think more than ever is finally the time where we have to focus on sustainability. Yeah. Finally, we've been talking about it for 20 years. I think it's finally coming to mainstream. That everybody is quite focused on it, yeah.
So looking ahead to Restaurant Week then, what kind of specialities are you going to have on the menu for Restaurant Week?
So basically, we are going to have some of the items that are already in the menu with a wee tweak. So we're going to take a few things from the menu and put them together and make something new from what we already have, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great talking to you, and the very best of luck with Restaurant Week.
Thank you very much.
The Northern Whig is a premium bar situated in the city centre of Belfast. We looked at our menu, and we already have a lot of stuff on our lunch menu which is already under £10. So we've just added, we're going to add tacos just to make it a wee bit different just for Restaurant Week. And then again on our dinner menu we already have a lot of dishes at £15 or under going forward. So we're just going to do a different like a sort of steak and chicken dish with mac and cheese and like a barbecue chicken fillet, just again something different just for Restaurant Week, just so it showcases the different cooking skills we have in the kitchen in the Northern Whig. People assume that when they come into the city centre for something to eat, it's really expensive, and so I think it puts them off. Where Restaurant Week showcase people, you can come in the Belfast city centre, have a lunch for £10, dinner for £15, and you can have a look and see that really it isn't that expensive. People have this assumption that you go into town, you're going to spend so much money coming in, getting food, and it's not really. There is deals out there for people to have, especially in the Northern Whig. We have a really competitive price menu, so I think then it's it's good for them to come out for that. Cost of energy and gas and electricity, stuff like that. It's really hard. It's going to be hard because you still need to be cooking food and doing that. It's just trying to organise yourself around the busier times and making sure that your energy is down, but like using your gas and stuff and keeping it down, and cooking oil and stuff. Everything is really through the roof. The price even for people to come into town is going to be much. So you need to showcase them is that if they did want to come into town, that there is value for money still in Belfast city centre for them. It can be quite daunting to get chefs, and hard too. But the way we work it in here, the chefs only do a 4-day week. Try and give them 3 days off. Try and make it like a job. It is a long hours in a job, but if you can cut the days down, it gives them more time with their family and more time with their friends and do things. So they do, when they're off their days, get back into work, they're ready for work, and they know they've only a few days to work to get back off again. So it's just for me to try and create a work-life balance for people, because that's what I would like. So that's what we try and do in here, and I find that it's easy for me to keep chefs because we do that. We don't expect them to work every hour. So we try and say, well, we have your spare time. You work for us for your 40 hours a week, and then we'll give you your time off. We'll try and get it as much time off you as you can. Obviously, with the price of things coming up, it is going to cost us a bit more, so we would need more footfall for people coming into town to try and help people out. Even the price of chickens has went up 50% in the last 3 months, and it's only going to go up more. So it would be great too if the executive could get sort of back together again and maybe help restaurants out. But we had a break with the rates, but now that's gone, so we're paying more in rates again too. Energy bills are going up, so it is quite hard at the minute for the restaurant industry. But things like Restaurant Week will help to get people into town and to get the deals and stuff, and then they can see, as I said, going forward, they maybe will come in a bit more often to realise that it's not that expensive to keep the footfall coming in, and that keeps the restaurant busier and keeps us going, keeps us open.
So, first of all, the first thing you notice about this restaurant is the fabulous atmosphere and the fabulous scenery around you.
Yeah, 100%. The square, it's a beautiful place. Friday, Saturday nights, it's a great bustle. All the restaurants are busy, especially when you come into Coppi. It's a warm feel, it's very contemporary, it's dark, it's sort of very modern, and we're just delivering some really nice rustic Italian cuisine.
People who haven't been here, what's the kind of main specialities on your menu then?
Once we start to get a favourite, it's hard to take things off the menu and stuff. One that's been here from day one is the duck ragu. It's a dish that the owner's a chef by trade himself, came up with. So you've got duck, you've got a rich stew, you've got a mushroom ravioli pasta, which we all make in-house, and that dish has sort of been here from day one, so that would be sort of Coppi's signature dish.
Excellent. Of course, as you mentioned there, the important thing is you make your own pasta, which is something special, isn't it?
Yeah, well, not many other places really do it. Obviously, a lot of staffing issues, whatever, throughout the time, but we pride ourselves on all our freshly homemade pasta. We've got a guy who comes in, and that's his only job. He just makes pasta for us, and then obviously the rest of the team, the chefs and all, cook it for the customers.
All right, so we just had to get you in the kitchen to do some cooking. Tell us what we have here in front of us then.
We'll start off with a sort of chickadee. These used to be a lot smaller, a bit like a tapas style. This here's the feta fritters.
Wow.
So these are coated in breadcrumbs, and then we finish them with honey. Here we have duck fritters. So pretty much all it is duck blended up, and as you see in the pasta being made, same sort of process. We make this all here, and then it's just deep fried, so it's deep fried pasta. So this here's the star of the show. This is the dish we've always had on. It's the duck ragu. It's nice and rich. It's light, the pasta with the mushrooms, the duck skins, nice and crisp.
What about the price of duck and stuff at the minute? Is it really expensive?
Yeah, so it's all went up recently. It almost tripled in price. Avian flu and a couple of other factors. So it became really hard to get. It was actually a local company here in Northern Ireland that was hit really bad with avian flu. Now, a lot of their produce would go to China and stuff for Peking ducks and feet, heads, everything would just get shipped out there, but we were actually using the leg, and the leg is what goes into this dish. So we had to just really source from other places, bringing in English duck, and but that's all starting to calm down now. Normal supplies are starting to come through again, so it's great to start getting Irish duck back into our dish.
Brilliant. Okay, so looking ahead to Restaurant Week then, what kind of deals have you got on?
It's going to be the Friday and Saturday. We're going to do a bit of like a anti-pasta board, bit of a deal there, 12 till 5 on the Friday and Saturday, and also I'm going to be doing a cookery demo on the Saturday in St George's Market with some of the event organisers and stuff, just to really showcase more local produce. So we're going to create a dish from a load of local produce to really showcase in that cookery demo.
Brilliant. Well, it's been great talking to you. The very best of luck with Belfast Restaurant Week.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so Tim, here we are in Coco today. For people who don't know anything about the restaurant, how would you describe it?
I suppose there's a modern Irish feel to it. We change our menu quite regularly. You know, we're a lot of French influence, Italian influence, sometimes Asian, depending on what's in season, you know, sort of thing. Yeah.
Excellent. So we've got Belfast Restaurant Week coming up. How important is an event like Belfast Restaurant Week?
I think it's great for the time that we've been through the last few years, you know, to promote the restaurant and offer the public something decent. Ones that haven't been here perhaps before might come in and try us and enjoy a decent meal, you know, at a decent price.
What about the whole hospitality scene in Belfast at the moment? We've come out of the pandemic, we thought we were going to be okay. Now we're faced with other challenges, rising fuel prices, electricity prices, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's very tough at the moment, you know, but it is what it is, you know, so you've just got to watch what you buy maybe change your dishes around to, you know, using different ingredients, you know, maybe doing a braised lamb or something like that instead of a lamb loin, you know, but still offering good quality food at a decent enough price. You know, you can only go so high with your prices before you price yourself out of the market, basically.
Exactly. What about local produce? How important is that to you?
Oh, very, very, yeah, we would always use as much local produce. We do a lot of game as well, you know, we've got a few guys that go out and shoot pigeons and stuff for us. Venison comes in. There's a lobster guy, you know, and we use all the local veg suppliers we can as well, you know.
What about the whole restaurant scene and the food scene here in Northern Ireland? Because we seem to be winning lots of awards. We're getting more Michelin star restaurants popping up. We're doing food really well here, aren't we?
Oh, definitely. You know, I've been in Belfast 20 years now, and to watch the city grow as much as it has is amazing, you know. And I know a lot of people around town, different restaurateurs and so forth. And it's great to see. Brilliant.
So looking ahead to Restaurant Week next week then, what kind of things can we expect from your menu then?
We've got a decent, lovely little menu there. It's 4 or 5 different dishes. There'll be a nice slow braised lamb that we did on the restaurant. We are closed Mondays and Tuesdays, but from the Wednesday through to the Sunday we'll be running it. Yeah.
So Tim, thank you for doing this, and the best of luck with Restaurant Week.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
So there really is so many great things to look forward to during Belfast Restaurant Week this year. Now we're moving on to comedy and political comedy now. A new show called Elected by comedian Paul Mone. It comes to the Black Box here in Belfast, and Paul's here to tell us all about it. Paul, welcome. We normally steer away from politics in this show, but we like having you because you're taking the mickey out of our politicians, aren't you?
I am. I have a little bit of a go at most of, let's say, Northern Ireland's most notorious politicians. I'm not going to mention any names here on the show, but we'll be mentioning plenty of names during the actual performance.
And of course, they do provide comedians like yourself with so much material, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. And in the past 4 or 5 years, it almost seems like there's a heightening of ridiculous things that have been happening really since Brexit, and so there's a lot of material there for, playwrights and comedians and writers and stuff. And so comedians tend to mention politics at least briefly in their sets because it's sort of like, it's very present. But I spend a lot of time on it.
And of course, in recent developments, that's why I would imagine you've called the show Elected.
Yeah, so the show first ran at Accidental Theatre earlier this year in, I think, April. It was like a week or 2 before the election. And I'd written it a few weeks before that, just to coincide with the election. So I had a lot of material. I wasn't sure what way the election was going to go necessarily. And so I thought I'll get it all out there, and then we'll see what happens. But things haven't really changed since then, so the material has stayed very current. So I think I may be able to tour it for 5 years, at this rate. But so I am going on a short tour with it across Northern Ireland and Ireland. But yeah, it's as long as they don't go back into government, my comedy thing is okay.
Yeah. Tell us what else we can expect from the show. I mean, there's puppetry in the show as well, isn't there?
There's a little bit of puppetry, yeah. So the show is a little bit different probably from most stand-up in that it is very performative. So there's a little bit of modern clowning in it, there's some storytelling in it, and there's some puppetry in it, especially in the first 10 to 15 minutes. So a lot of it is really trying to break down some of the barriers between the different types of performing art. So some elements of the show will feel very dramatic as well. And as someone who also acts in theatre productions, I wanted to see if I could bring that into the stand-up. Yeah. So there's a lovely balance, I think, between elements that are just genuinely very funny, and then elements that are sort of stretched out a little bit more dramatic and theatrical, and then back into the comedy again. Excellent. So it's a very balanced sort of a show. So
where did your love for comedy begin then?
My love for comedy began whenever I started. Well, my love for performing comedy started whenever I took improv classes about 8 years ago. And I think I didn't really realize at that time how accessible a lot of comedy is. And before I started taking those classes, it seemed like comedy was just something for people who were born with it. Yeah. Well, really like any sort of performance, that you have some actors and performers who are just born to be on stage. And so I took classes really as a whim, but then really enjoyed it and just saw a lot of the other people that were on the class just seemed to be also very naturally funny. But I realized that a class like that can really bring out the best, bring out the funny, bring out the dramatic, bring out the theatrical in really everybody. So that was where the journey started. And then I took a stand-up class a couple of years after that, so I just started to spread out into slightly different forms. And it was the same thing when I took the stand-up classes, that a lot of the other people who were in the class were very, very nervous at the beginning. Were taking the class because, they wanted to sort of push boundaries and just see if they could write it, but there is sort of a lack of confidence and not full belief. Mm-hmm. You have an inkling that your friends might think you're funny, and you thought, well, I might take the class and see what happens. But it was phenomenal. You know, you just have these regular, normal, non-theatrical, non-performative human beings just writing and performing some like really excellent comedy. So that really encouraged me, and I started doing a few more sets after that.
And did they teach you how to deal with hecklers and stuff like that?
They did very briefly teach how to deal with hecklers. Everyone has their own sort of heckler response.
I love it. I love it when somebody wants to get involved.
I don't know if I haven't had a heckle. I think in the past, a year or maybe 6 or 7 shows, I haven't had a heckle. My very second time performing, I had a heckle, and it was this. I had performed the same set in the same venue a week before, and it was great. It went down very well. No one said a thing. And at the very start of it, the second time, I got a heckle from the front row. And like most heckles, the person wasn't trying to be disruptive. Yeah. They just wanted to be involved, and so they said something. I think they thought they might have been helping, and it just totally threw. I just was not expecting it. I really wasn't sure how to deal with it in the moment. But I have ideas of how to deal with hecklers now, but I haven't had one in years.
Wow. Now, if I was going to decide tomorrow that I was going to do stand-up comedy, and I wouldn't because it scares me, it really does, what kind of advice would you give me for going on stage?
Oh, advice for stand-up comedy: have a put down for a heckler ready to go. No, I think a big part of it is just being confident in your own ability to perform something, and it is very tricky. You have to believe in what you're saying to the crowd that's gathered in front of you. So you have to really believe in whatever it is, the 5 minutes or 10 minutes that you have, that you think it's funny. And if you think it's funny, at least one other person hopefully will find it funny. And so the performance of it is really, you're almost performing for yourself and that 1 or 2 other people that you think might enjoy your jokes. If you go out expecting to 60 to 100 people to all fall around laughing, and they might, but if they don't and you've expected it, it can be it can be tough. So I would say anyone who wants to try out stand-up comedy should write 5 minutes for themselves that they think is funny, and maybe some of their friends think is funny, and take that to the stage. And I also, funny enough, I also teach stand-up. Right, so my first advice should really be take my stand-up course.
Exactly, yes. How do we get involved in that then?
So my stand-up course is fully booked, but there's a new one starting in late September, start of October. Okay. It's on Thursday evenings, and you can find out by emailing Paul Mone. So my name has popped up. So I have a website, paulmone.com, so you can find out details there. I also do improv classes at belfastimprov.co.uk, and so the Facebook page and the Instagram for both Paul Mone and Belfast Improv will have the details of all the classes. I know from doing acting work years ago as well, the improv stuff is so much fun, isn't it? It's really just amazing. I expect to see you at the next class, Robin. you might just, you never know, you might just. But in the meantime, you're on tour, you're going to Derry as well, aren't you? Yes, so we'll be in Derry 2 weeks hence, and then I'll be in Dublin 2 weeks after that. As the tour goes on, I'll probably be adding more dates, so keep an eye out on the website. And you have to change things slightly when you go to Dublin if they don't get the Northern Ireland politics, or do they get it down there? They get a lot of it down there. So a lot of the material is focusing on the politicians who are very more well known, and a lot of the material is actually very general political material. It just happens to feature some of our leaders, so a lot of it they get. There will be 1 or 2 additional jokes thrown in for a Dublin audience. Brilliant. Well, Paul, it's been great talking to you. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks, Robin. Thank you. Right, time for some brand new music now. And earlier on this week, I caught up with the group Esselle. Susan and Lucinda will be with us in the studio and also playing live in just a second. But before that, here's their brand new music video.
And
So there we go, that's a great new song from Esselle. That's called Without You, and I'm pleased to say that Susan and Lucinda join us now in the studio. Girls, welcome. We're loving your new music. Tell us about that song, Without You. What's the story behind it?
Well, originally it was written by David McLean, who produced all the music. He wrote the song. He had his own stamp on it, but when we came to do it, we put our own stamp on it and changed the tune ever so slightly.
So is this part of an album then that you have coming out?
Yes.
So tell us about the album. What can we expect from it then?
It's a bit of a mix of cover songs, original songs, a bit of country, a bit of modern, a bit of 80s music, a wide range really.
Excellent, okay. So tell me about you two, because you've been singing together for a number of years now, haven't you?
Our parents discovered us singing Kylie Minogue and Jason Donovan in the kitchen and burst in and realised we could sing. After that, it was any opportunity. Weddings, church, Christmas Day, Children's Day, whatever opportunities, we had to get up and sing.
But it's taken a long time to get you actually into a recording studio and to do the album now. Why is it taking so long?
Life kind of takes over, your studies take over, your career takes over. But it just so happened the opportunity came along when we had the chance to actually record with a Ballymena performer, Willie Drennan, who wanted us to do backing vocals on a Christmas album, and it just came from there, really.
And sought us out through Facebook and that and found us.
Brilliant.
And it's just stemmed from there.
Brilliant. Well, if people want to come along and see you performing anywhere, what's the plans?
Hopefully we'll be doing live gigs, and we have sung live, which we sung live a few months ago, which was quite nerve-wracking, but...
First one we've ever done in 20 years.
Oh, right, okay, wow.
Haven't sung in public in 20 years.
And is it the first TV you've done?
Yes.
Yes.
We're not going to put you under any pressure, but you are going to perform live for us now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Tell us about the song you're going to do this time.
It was a song that was also written by David McLean, who produced the song. He's written it, he's done the music for it. We've put our own stamp on the tune, and we recorded it several months ago, so this was it's an acoustic version of it today.
And what's it called?
Look at Me in the Eye.
Brilliant. We look forward to this. The best of luck with the album, and thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
So here we go with David, who we mentioned on guitar as well. Here are Esselle with Look Me in the Eye.
There's a feeling deep inside me that says something's not the same. I just can't find a reason. I don't know who's to blame. You just tell me not to worry. You say everything's just fine, but you haven't said I love you in such a long, long time. Won't you tell me that you need me like you did so long ago? Won't you tell me what you're feeling deep inside? Is it my imagination? Is it something there to hide? Why can't you look me in the eye? Why can't you look me in the eye? Am I being too suspicious when you look too good for work? Those new shirts you've been wearing just make me think the worst. When we lie in bed together, feels like we're miles apart. I'd really like to know just who you think of in your heart. Won't you tell me that you love me like you did so long ago? Won't you tell me what you're feeling deep inside? Is it my imagination? Is there something there to hide? Why can't you look me in the eye? Why can't you look me in the eye?
Oh, if you only knew the things we were talking about in the studio while that music was playing there. But anyway, we can't reveal any of it. But I can reveal that the Belfast Girls are here in the studio. Welcome, welcome. Before we talk about the show, I've got to start off with Michael because we have some history.
We have history.
Together, and I think we just need to get it out of the way now before we continue, don't we?
Before there ends up in a scuffle.
Yeah.
A few years ago, when I was a young child, I was on City Beat Star Search. And this young man was one of the judges. And he was very rude. He wouldn't let me through. I didn't get through. But look at me now.
Look at you now, exactly. But I have to say that thing, the City Beat Star Search, does haunt me to this day because there's so many kids who are now adults come up to me in the street and went, "You shattered my dreams. I thought I was going to be the next pop superstar and you shot me down in Castle Court, or you told me to leave the Kennedy Centre." I remember having a security guard take me out of the Ard Shopping Centre.
I arranged that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, look at you now.
Look at me now, I'm singing.
You're on stage all over the place, you've done the waterfront and now the SSE Arena.
The SSE, yes. Very exciting.
Tell me about Belfast Girls, because when I first found out about this, it was just on social media and all of a sudden it exploded, didn't it?
Yeah.
Or Bernie exploded.
So, 2016, I made a video on social media, just having a laugh, didn't think much of it. And then it kind of just blew up overnight. People were like, make more videos, want to see more characters. And then I just kept going with it and got contacted by a producer in 2018 and says, have you ever considered writing a stage show? And I was like, no. He was like, would you? I was like, absolutely. So, and then we introduced to these two lovely girls.
Well, that's the thing, because we do have acting royalty sitting beside you. Christina Nelson is sitting here. How do you get Christina Nelson into your show?
Well, I messaged her on Facebook and I threatened her.
Christina, what's it like to work with this guy then?
Well, it's non-stop crack. It is actually amazing, you know. All joking aside, talking about, I have been like working my butt off, shall we say, for like 30 odd years, and like nobody really knows me unless you go to the theatre, you know, or like the odd bit of TV or whatever, film. But you go anywhere with Michael and immediately they're straight over to Michael. Yeah. I'm like, are you seriously? It's me. What do you want to talk to her for? The following and the support that the Belfast Girls has is it's just out of the ordinary. It really is. It's a fantastic thing. And I am like scared of social media, you know, so everything like all the TikTok-y stuff and all, I just keep popping up on Belfast Girls on his. But the power of that is like quite unbelievable, isn't it?
And really, it's just an excuse for a lot of women from Belfast to go out for a nice drinking, isn't it?
Yeah. Go out and have a laugh.
Yeah, so people would be coming up at the end of the show and say, "Oh, she's the real Michelle, she's the real one. Let's get pictures."
That's right.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just the following that Michael has is incredible, and we've been brought along for the ride.
So tell us what's going to happen at the SSE Arena. What's going to happen in this show then?
Well, Bernie Green is getting married. She's finally shutting up shop. Or does she, yeah?
So Jasmine, tell us about your character then. What does she get up to then?
She just gets dragged along, really, with Betty and Bernie and gets into some trouble. So she's lots of fun to play and larger than life, which is always great fun.
Brilliant. Okay, so when does the show open then?
23rd of September at the SSE. I'm very excited.
And after doing the SSE, is there anywhere else you can take Bernie on to next?
Well, we'd love to bring her worldwide.
Yeah.
Bring them on tour, bring them everywhere.
Oh, Bernie's definitely up for America, isn't she? Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think the Belfast Girls would do really well in America.
I do too.
Yeah.
They would love us.
But hopefully we're going to maybe do something for for Belfast before that.
Yes.
Christmas is around the corner, do you know what I mean? Ladies.
Maybe a Belfast Girls panto, you never know.
Oh, it'll be brilliant. That sounds good. Christina, you're keeping busier than ever.
I am.
I see the shows all over the place, including Good Vibrations coming back as well.
That's right, yeah.
New York.
And they're going to come out and support me, which is brilliant. Yeah, we're going to the Opera House, which is amazing, that beautiful building. We're going to get to play there. It's a real feel-good show. And then we're off to New York.
Wow.
I know, and it's going to be amazing. Just the whole, because it's a good big cast, you know, of real decent people, and we're going to blow America away.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and just celebrate Belfast, which is great. which is what I suppose the Belfast Girls do too.
Yeah,
you know.
Excellent. And there's always a Christmas show with you as well. Is there one this year?
There is. We're going to do. We're doing the Snow Queen, a new musical written by Paul Boyd, and that's going to be at the Lyric Theatre all over Christmas.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And we were at the Lyric last night as well, watching the Gap Year, which is still on for a few weeks. Everybody should go and see that, shouldn't they?
Yeah, it was so good. Such a lovely piece, a real roller coaster. You'd be crying one minute, laughing the next, and great to see good actresses on the stage as well as the actors, of course. It was a really good cast, wasn't it?
It really was, yeah, it really was. Anyway, Belfast Girls, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
And the best of luck with the show at the SSE Arena.
Yes, up the SSE.
We're friends now.
We're friends now.
I forgive you.
Now, the Sky Arts Book Club is back on our TV screens this week. I've been catching up with the host of the show, Simon Savidge. Here's what happened. Okay, next up on the show, we are talking books, and the Sky Arts Book Club returns to our TV screens, and I'm pleased to say we'll find out more about it from Simon Savidge, who joins us now. Simon, how are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So tell us about this latest research then we've discovered, that people are finding reading good for their mental health. Were you surprised about that?
Not really, as an avid reader who's been, well, I had a blip where I didn't read for quite a while, but I'm a big reader now. I find if I don't have, I'm working at home a lot more, but if I don't have a break between home and like work and home and resting, books are perfect for that, and it's helping kind of divide the time. And also I sleep better when I am, when I've read a book rather than been doom scrolling, which I do all too often, I have to admit.
So were you always into books, even from a child?
As a kid, yeah, my grandparents were very bookish. My mum was very bookish, but then I fell out of love with it when I was a teenager studying English, sadly. I ended up leaving partway through my A-levels, but then got back into it hilariously through my friend Polly, who, when I was having an operation, bought me a book called The Surgeon by Tess Gerritsen, which is about a psychopathic surgeon. So that was nice of Polly. But it got me back into books along with Rebecca. And actually, Polly is on the next episode of Sky Arts Book Club.
Brilliant. Okay. Now, do you think the kind of the pleasure of reading is being lost these days? That people have got the e-books and things. There's just something still good about picking up a good paperback book, isn't there?
I think there is. I think people like the physical object. I know that my little brother and sister are both quite a lot younger than me, and they absolutely love heading to a book. I think they're done with screens at a certain point in the day. But I think it's one of the benefits of the pandemic. There's not a lot of them, but books have had a massive resurgence. Like, so many people are reading, and I think that's why the series has done so well, and why we've got so many people joining the Facebook group and just kind of really getting involved. And that's really what we wanted with the book club. We wanted it to be a case of getting everyone to read, because reading by its nature is quite an isolating thing, and people do want to talk about it. And I think that's why Book Talk, BookTube, Bookstagram, all those things are doing so well.
And if you had to choose a favourite book or a favourite genre of novels of all time, what would yours be?
Rebecca remains my favourite book, partly I think because it got me back into reading, because I read it before The Surgeon, funnily enough. I decided not to read that while I was having an operation, and that really, really got me so into it. And I think Gothic novels and Victorian sensation novels, they're kind of my bag. They're the things that I really love.
And what are you reading at the moment?
I am reading the second Richard Osman thriller, and I am loving it. It's the perfect, you know how sometimes with a book you just want something you're going to get straight like lost in its pages, and the characters are brilliant and it's funny whilst also being a thriller. I'm really, really enjoying it.
Brilliant. Now, what about book clubs? Because they seem to be becoming really popular again. So obviously there's many benefits about being part of a book club, isn't there?
Oh God, yeah. I think one of the biggest ones is the fact that, again, like I said, reading's so isolating. So it's a way of, catching up with people. I think they've become a huge social thing. And also, I think what's been brilliant is they've boomed even more thanks to Zoom, because you can actually now have a book club with people all over the world, which is really exciting. One of the reasons that we put the show onto the Facebook group after it's gone live, because we do have a lot of international viewers now. And I think books are a great connector, and I think the digital works with that in a really nice way. But also, I think the fact that festivals and book events are back now, that's a huge thing that people are really, really excited about, because you're not just getting to interact with the author, you're getting to interact with other readers in a room.
So the Sky Arts Book Club is back on our TV screens on Wednesday evenings. You must be pleased that's happening again.
Oh, thrilled. Like, working with Andy and Elizabeth is honestly a dream. We genuinely really love each other. And it's just like, when we're filming, it doesn't really feel like work because we're just laughing and having so much fun. And we're all avid book fans. You know, Andy reads a huge amount. Elizabeth's an author as well. I've been, getting, reading's helped me with my career, I guess, in a weird way. But we're all like proper book lovers and proper book worms. So it's just a real delight. And having all the book clubs on is brilliant because they each give a different like flavour to the episode. So it's been really, really, really brilliant.
And who decides which books you're going to read each week?
So it's a mixture. We suggest some, and then also it'll be a case of the production team picking some as well.
Excellent. I'm glad you mentioned the Richard Osman thriller there. Is that going to feature on the show? Because I'm dying to read that one as well now.
It isn't, but as well as the authors that we have on, I have a segment where I recommend 4 different books every week, but also over on the Facebook group, we have recommendations from other viewers. I do extra shows with extra author interviews. And so you get like a whole package, but you could not get more recommendations anywhere, I don't think, apart from a bookshop.
Exactly. Well, at the moment, I'm reading the J.K. Rowling, Robert Galbraith thriller books that she's written. I'm on the latest one, and again, she's an amazing writer.
Yeah, I've not read any of the Robert Galbraith ones, I have to say, but I know that people have, I think there's a huge, and we were talking about it on the first show yesterday with Reverend Richard Coles, there's a real drive for crime.
Yeah.
And I think it's because you can go through really tense things from the comfort of your own home, which I guess is what we've all been doing for the last few years. But also there's something about crime, I think, now, which is I think it's changed quite a lot in the fact that it looks at sort of the themes of the day and looks at sort of societal stuff, but all through a thriller. I think, and also there's something very satisfactory, isn't there, about the fact at the end, hopefully with most thrillers, good will out. And I think we all need that.
And we're finding here in Northern Ireland as well, we seem to have this big crime scene over here, and there's more crime writers popping up nearly every week, and they're actually producing really great work.
Yeah, I would like to read a lot more crime from Northern Ireland, so any recommendations are fully welcome. Get into the Facebook group and get recommending, frankly.
I will do that because my good friend James Murphy has the Terror trilogy out at the moment, which is very good. Simon Maltman, another good writer, is doing really good crime stuff. Stuart Neville, people like that. So yeah, I'll get onto your Facebook and give you some suggestions. But in the meantime, Simon, it's been great chatting to you, and the book club is back on our TV screens on Sky on Wednesday evenings.
It is indeed, and you can join us on the Sky Arts Facebook group. Look for the Sky Arts Book Club. It's a tongue twister every time. But yeah, the is very important.
All right, great stuff. Simon, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we continue our book theme on the show this week. We're going to find out about this year's Aspects Festival, a celebration of Irish writing that runs from the 22nd of September through until the 2nd of October. To tell us more, Patricia Hamilton joins us in the studio. Welcome, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So before we talk about this year's festival, let's talk about book recommendations.
Oh.
We have some from Simon there. So have you been reading anything or listening to anything recently?
I have lots I'm going to be reading around this time, obviously in the run-up to special events. But I recently, it's not an Irish book, which of course is what we're trying to encourage more people to read. But I actually came across Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights book, and it was an audiobook, and I've never downloaded an audiobook before. And I have to say, it did give a completely added dimension. I think because he had written it, and it was in his southern drawl, and give a completely. Actually, just that tone of voice. I actually would recommend it. I thought it was a great listen.
And from what I've heard, I mean, he's had quite a crazy life, hasn't he? And a crazy family as well.
Yeah, he has. There's been, it starts off and it's just lots. It grabs you straight away. So there's lots going on. His sort of outlook on life, just from coming from his parents and that family. He's a very close family, but it's been a roller coaster. It totally has. But it's really good.
I must give that a go.
Yeah,
actually.
I would recommend it.
Now, I was saying to Simon earlier as well, I'm one of these people who can't get used to the Audible stuff. I still like having a good old-fashioned book in my hands.
I do too, if I'm honest. I do too. But I had read something where someone had said this is a good one for an audiobook. And I was going on a trip, and I just thought it was really easy to do that. And I just binged it. I really did. Yeah, I read that. I listened to that in fairly record time. It was good, really good.
Excellent. Okay, let's talk about this year's Aspects Festival then. There's lots happening, as always. And we're talking about there's so much great crime writers coming from Northern Ireland at the moment.
Yes.
My good friend Jason Johnson, who I remember from his journalism days.
Oh, really?
That's how long ago, is back with a new crime book as well, isn't he?
Yes, he is. And actually that is a book launch event, and that's on our first day.
Yeah.
That is a busy first day of the festival, and that is going to be a really lovely event. I would definitely recommend coming down to that. You should come down and come to that.
I will do that as well.
That'd be
so
great.
it's not just Jason at the event, is it?
No, we've got Anthony J. Quinn as well, who's coming to launch his latest book as well. So that's going to be for anybody interested in crime. And I mean, what talent that's local as well. So fantastic.
Exactly. Now, as I was flicking through the brochure there, I came across a photograph of my other good friend, Anne-Marie McAleese.
Oh, really?
What's she up to?
Well, they are literally about to launch a book with Dot Blakely, where they are... that is a really special event, actually. They're going to go around Clantyboy Estate, and it's all about local native birds. And I think there's quite a few Dot followers on Anne-Marie's programme, and they're going to be... Yeah, and if that's sold out, I mean, that is because such interest, and that's going to be really unique. So it's going to have partially the book event, but also this interactive and outdoors event as well. So
brilliant.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Excellent. So what else have we got to look forward to this year?
There's a lot. I mean, we're a small festival, but we're a very broad festival. It's talent from all over this island. So there are children's events, there are lots of new writing events. I mean, I'm really looking forward to Martina Devlin's event with Jan Carson. That's two great books. Yeah. And they seem very different on the surface, but there are themes that will, will tie them, that will give really great dialogue and those readings. That'll be a really lovely one. That first weekend, actually the whole, it's busy right through, but those 2 weekends are really busy.
Okay, let's have a look at some more of the highlights then of this year's festival. We've got 100 years of the Ulster Grand Prix.
We do. We have a lovely event on Friday the 23rd of September, and that's going to be, this new book has been written by Norman Windrum, and he has such knowledge around the Ulster Grand Prix. And actually it's going to be Liam Beckett. So he's the sports pundit and all-round knowledge of that. He's going to be doing the interview, and so it's going to be a really lovely event, actually. I expect a packed house for that one. Okay, then for poetry fans as well, we've got Maureen Boyle and Maura Donaldson. Yeah, they have written so many, had so many collections, and are such beautiful poets. They're going to have their readings, but there's also going to be a little bit of a chat around that, and it'd give a little bit of an extra inspiration that you don't normally get with poets. Usually it's the writers stand up and get the interviews and so on, but we're going to get find out a little bit more about them and the inspiration and what's behind the books and what's happening with them. Excellent. Now we've also got Phil Coulter at Bangor Castle. That's an extra event, as in it's sort of out of our main body of the festival. It's on the 9th of October, and it was one of those that we wanted him when he released his autobiography, and then of course we had COVID and so on. And but he's going to be in Ireland, and he's going to be talking. I mean, that man has stories to tell. So there's going to be a in-depth interview, and I think we'll have a little bit of music as well. So it'll be really special. So give us all the details then if people want to check out the website. Where do they go to? aspectsfestival.com. It's all the information is on there, and yes, please come and check out the full programme. There's events for children. If you're an aspiring writer, we have a festival club. Come on, come down and enjoy and meet other writers and so on. So you're very welcome. So that's from the 22nd of September until the 2nd of October. Patricia, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. So there we go. That's all we have time for on the show this week. Thank you to all my guests, and we'll see you back here same time next week. Bye-bye.